Welcome back. A workplace safety study shows that injuries at work are common. It's estimated that every day in America, 13 people go to work and never come home. More than 3 million are hurt on the job, and many never fully recover.
Yeah, so what's the first thing you should do if you're hurt at work? And how does workers' comp help? Alex Eichhorn is an attorney and partner at Tabak Law. Great to see you again.
Well, thank you for having me again.
This
is important. Yeah, millions.
Steps.
And we deal with it every day, and we see these injuries and how they affect and change people's lives every single day. So they definitely mean a lot to us and how we can help individuals as well.
Well, and I think that's why it's important for people to know the first thing they should do, because nobody plans on getting hurt at work or anywhere else. So I think if you know what to do, it's very helpful. And you say if you're hurt at work, the first thing you should do is what?
Well, I have a history of working construction. I used to lay concrete, so I know the culture. I think there's definitely a culture of individuals in these type of jobs, and moreover in jobs in general, that don't want to report to their employers when an injury occurs. That is not the right way to do it. You definitely want to report to your employer, and if you work for a good employer, this should not be a big issue. An employer has a duty when an employee is injured to report to their workers' compensation company, no matter the extent of the injury, within 7 days that an injury has occurred. Now, I am seeing it more and more frequently where employers and workers' compensation companies are making it difficult to tackle this first step of even getting a claim filed. And I can't elaborate how important it is to actually file a claim. There's numerous benefits. We'll get into that in a little bit of what you're entitled to when an injury does occur. But to fully protect yourself, it's very important to get the claim filed and to contact an attorney. If you contact me, there's no fee at all. And in fact, I really enjoy talking to people when they're initially injured, kind of giving them a timeline of what they can anticipate and expect when this injury happens. Hopefully, it's not a serious injury. They can return to work shortly and get the benefits that they're entitled to during that time, including medical expenses paid for. If they're off for more than 3 continuous days, wage loss, and if it's a permanent injury damages. So. Definitely just give us a phone call. It's free. There's no reason not to.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And I anticipate most people don't know exactly what to do when an injury occurs. So again, give me a call. It's free. There's no reason not to.
Well, I'm thinking right away, the company might say, okay, we're going to send you to our doctor. You know, the company's doctor. Is that a good idea? Or what?
No, there is, and it depends. So initially, employers in Wisconsin do have the ability to direct care. However, I don't think it's a great idea. I would feel comfortable if I was injured. I want to see my own doctor, and in Wisconsin, you have the choice of your own doctor. So there's several clinics and employer-sponsored healthcare clinics, such as Concentra, that immediately when I talk to an injured worker, I say, I don't think it's a great idea for you to continue the treat there because your best interest may not be in mind. If you go seek your own doctor's care, then you have your own doctor on board. He knows how the injury occurred. When the time comes to give a permanency report or give causation, that's a work-related injury, you're not having to deal with the doctor that you're unfamiliar with and largely may have some monetary incentive to not provide the causation and the permanency that otherwise your own doctor would provide.
It's a good point. You need somebody who's working for you, who's helping you, and has your best interests at heart. I wonder, do you have any examples of people who've come to you with a workers' compensation claim and how that turned out for them or how you were able to help them?
Sure. So oftentimes injuries or injured people do contact my office right away and they ask, do I need to retain you? And the answer sometimes and usually is no, not yet. There hasn't been a denial. At this point, you're receiving medical care, you're off work, and you're receiving temporary total disability or lost wages. Now, I give them my number, I send out my card, and they have that on tap or hopefully in their cell phone. So when the time comes, and it all too often occurs where the work comp company doesn't want to continue to pay expenses, they can call me and say, hey, Alex, I was denied. I'm no longer receiving lost wages, and I'm still off work. My doctor wants me off work for another 2 months. I hurt my back. So that's a very common example. So at that time, I immediately am able to put in my insurance retainer, let the workers' compensation company know that this injured victim has an attorney and that we're going to be seeking all the benefits that that individual is entitled to. So again, it's so important to have the injured worker's doctor on board because one of the most important pieces of paperwork in the entire claim is a form called the WKC 16B. And this form really simply asks, is the injury work-related? And if so, is there any permanent damage? And That form will be supplied to the workers' compensation company and attorney at the end. And if you don't have a doctor who's on board and willing to complete this form, oftentimes the Concentras of the world or the employer's medical providers, they'll just say, no, we don't complete those forms. And it really leaves you in a difficult position.
And that's why you need representation.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I think just for that sole reason, people generally trust their employers, and I think that's great. They should trust them. And oftentimes it's not the employer that is directing care or has any alternative motives, but the workers' comp insurance company may have. So you're better informed than underinformed.
Absolutely. And we ran out of time, but I want you to just mention really quickly, because you said it's free to visit you. People don't pay you, excuse me, directly. It's only if you're successful.
And that's correct. So you could come in, hypothetically, I could work on your case for an entire year, which is oftentimes the case, during which time you are paying nothing to our offices. We're collecting medical reports, narrative statements from your doctor. Again, I take on the cost, my office takes on the cost of that. And only at the end is there any payment taken. It's a lower than a contingency standard fee. It's only 20%, and it's paid directly from the workers' compensation insurance company. So never are you worried about cutting a check out of your own bank account that you may not have. So it's a great structure, very low risk for injured workers, and that's why we have it set up that way, to help more people.
And it's nice that it's set up that way. And you do, as we mentioned, risk-free, no obligation consultations for disability and workers' comp cases and evaluations. So call right now. The phone number at Tabak Law is 414-351-4400. You can also visit them online at tabakattorneys.com. Their offices are located on North Green Bay Avenue. Great to see you as always.
Well, great to see you as well, and thank you very much.
Absolutely.